Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is the MachEVlog. And I'm riding the Ainohot Terra E-Bike, and we're going to take a look at it right now, so let's go. Let me introduce you to the Ainohot Terra 26-inch mountain bike. I've had this for about a week and a half, been riding it around, and I really like it. First of all, let's give you some basic stats. It's about $1,000. It's listed as $1,500, but like on sale for $1,000. If you don't see it for $1,000, keep checking, because I think they do a lot of sales on this. But it is a 48 volt with a battery system with a 13 amp hour battery. The big, most important part is this rear hub motor back here. It is 750 watt peak. I think it's about 500 watt sustained output, but they listed it as 750 watts. But yeah, it's been a great bike for the past couple of weeks. It's rated from 25 to 56 miles. And let me tell you, we've done about 27 miles with it since I charged the battery. And it still says full charge. And that includes some very slow riding, because we went into a 4th of July bike parade that I'll talk about in a minute. But also on the way back, it was about 8 or 9 miles on the way back, and I was literally full throttle, no pedaling at all, at about 20 miles an hour, maybe 15 to 20. And it did fantastic with the range. I haven't done a full range test, but that gives me an indication that the 25 to 56 mile range, which is probably one of the most important factors that you're looking at when you're looking at an e-bike, it matches that. Like I have no problems with saying that I think it'll match that range. But let's take a look at the bike real quick. I'm gonna come over and grab the camera and we'll go over some of the details. So let's just start here. Well, first of all, we'll start with the display here. The display is pretty decent. It's not a color display, but it does light up. You have your M that turns it on and off, and your plus and minus that determine your level of assist. So one of the things I found interesting with this, and I haven't reviewed a ton of e-bikes, but I'm starting to review more, but some e-bikes, it feels like all you ever do is use the 1 and the 2, which means it's sort of like at the 3, 4, and 5, it's like too powerful, you know? It sort of like gives you that kick that you really don't want, and can make it, you know, a little bit more unstable when you're trying to bike. But this one, it's sort of like I could live in that 2 or 3 range when I really needed it. I could go to 4 when I was trying to max out and go 20 miles an hour. I had it up to 5 just using the throttle. So I really sort of like that you can use the full range. You're not just sort of stuck using 1 or 2. If you press and hold the 1, the headlight over here will actually come on. So it does have some additional functionality. And then if you press the M, it will cycle through. So you have like your trip computer. You also have, that's the voltage right now, which is at 49.7 volts, which is higher than the rated 48 volts. And I did not measure it when it was just completely off of the or just freshly off the charger. But the other day on the bike ride, it was at 50 volts. So that tells me that they're running a little bit higher than it's rated on the packaging or the specs. So that's the actual current. So it's outputting just barely any. So that's really neat to see the power meter that way. But there's also a little bar power meter in the upper left corner. Of course, the miles per hour is 0 up here. And then we also have a timer here going as well. So just a few, you know, standard functions. And then there's my 27 miles that I've been riding it so far. So that's all with the bike computer. We have a little bell over here. Let's ring that so you can hear how that sounds. Typical bike bell. Over on the right-hand side, this is where your shifter is. It has 7 gears shifting down and up, or up and down, I should say. Let me get that back to where it was. It also has a throttle shifter on this side. So if you do that, you can actually take off. You don't have to pedal to enable the throttle. You can actually throttle from start, depending on your preferences. I sort of like this because sometimes, like when you're trying to get up a hill, it can be hard to pedal to get you going before you can use the throttle, but you can do throttle and get going. And of course, it has a pedal sensor so that it's adding torque when you pedal, but you can do just full throttle as well. Of course you have your brakes. They are mechanical disc brakes, and we'll switch over to this side to show you that the disc brakes down here brakes very well. I did a couple of hard brakes with this. Felt like I was very in control. It does have a little bit of squeaky noise, but the brakes are new. So just as with like the battery, you know, saying that it's at 100%, even though we've ridden 27 miles, I think that will, you know, as the battery sort of breaks in, and that'll probably be more accurate down the road. I think the brakes will get a little bit less squeaky as well. We're going to take a look at some of the rear hub motor. Of course, back here, that's the 750 watt motor that they talked about, as well as the rear disc brakes over here. And if you're wondering what type of shifter it is or gear set it is, it's a Shimano Tourney TZ in back here. Overall, I like the fact that we have a couple of pre-positioned mounts, so that if we want to add like a bike rack, that is available to us. And you can order pretty much any standard bike rack that you would want to put back here. It also, of course, has a mount for your like water bottles as well, and a couple of other mounts up in the front. So like if you want to add some accessories to the front of the bike. You may have noticed already that there is a full suspension on the front forks, which made it riding it very comfortable. We were mostly on paved roads when I was paved paths when I was riding it, but just riding it, you know, in the grass, hopping off of curbs, it's very nice to have that. In the back, there is no suspension at all, but I found that the seat was fairly comfortable. You can see a little bit of extra support back here. 27 miles isn't a ton of time on a bike, but I did not have any problems with the seat at all. Probably the most sore point from riding it that 27 miles was from the handle grips, which is actually sort of the good thing, because this is designed to be a little bit of like a mountain, or definitely a mountain bike. So you want to be able to, you know, maintain your grip on the bike, but just riding it on a path for an hour or so, the palms of my hands were a little bit uncomfortable on that. All I would have to do is just put on some bike gloves, and that would take care of that. But overall, very comfortable ride for the 27 miles that we did. Mostly it was on a bike path. We went into a bike parade, which we'll put in some footage now, because it was actually a fantastic time on the 4th of July in Oceanside, California, with us and about 1,000 other friends that were biking down the beachfront in Oceanside to celebrate the 4th of July. Going very slow, but it was also very comfortable. Very nice to know that when I was done with that, I could just ride home. And we saw a lot of people that were driving down to where the bike parade was at and then pulling their bikes off. But because we had the e-bike, it was sort of easy for us to take the e-bike down, take the parade tour, and then bike back. So it was a fantastic day to spend on a bike. But yeah, overall, this thing is really great. I really liked riding it so far. I can't wait to ride it some more. Been doing just a little bit of, you know, riding in the grass, trying to go up hills. And I got to say, the power with that 750 watt motor is definitely more than adequate for going up hills. Starting off, you know, going up a hill was really easy. The emergency braking, you know, when I came to a complete full stop, was very controlled. Was playing around, going around the roundabout over here just to try going at like a maximum speed that I felt comfortable. And I was surprised at how well it just handled. Like I felt like I was completely in control, which can sometimes be an issue if you are on like the knobbly tires on pavement. They handle dirt and everything really well, but when you're on pavement, you get a little bit of like a disconcerting motion as you're going around like a roundabout. But this felt very nice. Everything was really nicely able to handle it. I do want to talk about the hub motor, because there is a little bit of debate in the mountain bike community, as well as just biking community in general. hub motor versus mid-drive. There's pros and cons to each. One of the things I do like about a hub motor is that it's shifting your balance, your center of gravity even further back, which can be a really good thing, because as you're trying to go up a hill or anything like that, if you are too top heavy, it can be harder to control. Some people like it being very much in the center of the bike. Being in the rear, to me, just feels a little bit more comfortable if you're not used to riding and doing a lot of difficult terrain. It does have a kickstand, as you notice. It's over on this side, you can't see it, but it is toward the rear, which supports that rear hub motor. So the weight's back here, that's where the kickstand is at. There is the battery. There is a charger that's over on this side, but you can pull the battery off as well. There is a lock. I have the key here. It does come with 2 keys, so I would keep one on you and then keep one in a safe spot back at your house. So you can pop the battery off and charge it like inside if you don't have a garage where you can, like plug in and while the bike is parked. It does come with a charger. It is a proprietary charger. So make sure you don't lose that if you buy this bike, but it is, fairly simple. Plug it in to charge. They say about 7 hours to charge. Of course, when we got the bike, it was almost fully charged. Put it on the charger and didn't even think about it. So I think for most people, especially with the 56 miles of range, up to 56 miles of range, you charge it overnight. I doubt you're really gonna go 56 miles on this. You could, but I think it'd be pretty uncomfortable for a bike like this. You want like a road bike or something, but if you do, then maybe the charging might be an issue for you. But I think for 99% of us, just charging it overnight will be perfect for this. It is step through, as you might have noticed. There is no bar going across. Some other competitors have it so that you can decide which one you want, but I think this is completely fine. Like I said, it rides really well. Assembly was very easy, that I should mention as well. It took me maybe 35-40 minutes. The only little issue I had is like one of the cables was coming out a little bit just from the shipping process, but I just sort of had to loosen up the retaining clip over here and then put that back in. So that was sort of like a little bit of a hold up, but everything else went together very easy. You just want to make sure it's very easy with the front forks because it comes sort of turned and at an angle. Make sure you put the disc brake on the same side and front and back. That's the easy way to know which way you want to put that. If you do it wrong, you'll notice that your front light won't go on correctly. So like I said, it's really, really straightforward. It does come in a box that you have to pull it out. That's probably the hardest thing, actually, is trying to get it out of the box without scraping it up. Has a lot of protection, but it's like you're wiggling it and getting it out. But didn't want to waste your time by like showing you me struggling getting it out of the box myself. Definitely easier if you have 2 people to help with that part, but you can do it with 1 person. So the sun is getting ready to set here. I'm going to turn on the headlight and we'll see if we can angle the bike toward the camera and so that you can see if the headlight is on. And it's not like the brightest of things. Some headlights that you get on a bike are so bright that they can be used as like a daytime running light that really help out. This one I don't think is quite that bright, but at nighttime it's definitely adequate for getting through the woods and whatever. So it works, but if you're looking for a light to sort of like, if you're going to be riding on roads and you want that like bright light that's even effective during the daytime to let people see you, this is not it. You might want to upgrade that. But that's the other great thing is like, there's a lot of little things, a lot of mount points and stuff like that where you can mount your own accessories. So I think the quality of the bike is really good. It seemed really solid. As I walked through, and this is something that if you are a new e-bike rider or an old e-bike rider, take a look at the bike that you're riding, and I would do it for every ride. Of course, a lot of people know you should probably inflate your tires every single time that you get on a bike, unless you're riding it like every day. But if you're riding once a week, check your tires, but also check like all of the other critical things, like make sure your suspension is good. The one thing that's really important for e-bikes in particular is making sure that it's tight. Your front wheel is tight because it has a quick release on that. it's always a good idea to double check, make sure that didn't get undone or anything. And the reason why it's important is because with the disc brakes and the weight of the e-bike, when you're braking, there's a lot of forces. And if that's not tight, there can have the tragedy of your wheel coming off. So you know, it's just those type of things. Make sure you always check that, check your cables, check the rear tires as well. Make sure your chain is all clean. And there's no debris with the brakes as well. Another thing that I like to point out too, because a lot of you guys are new to e-bikes, when you are taking care of your battery, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One, it's probably a good idea not to like charge it up to 100% and just leave it on the charger for several months specifically. So like if you are going to put your e-bike away because it's going to be winter or rainy or you're going to make a vacation, it's not a good idea to leave it at 100%. What I would do is keep it at like that 60, 70, 80% level if you're going to keep it like stored for a while. And then on the flip side, it's not good to discharge the battery completely and then leave it as well down at like 0%. So sort of like the sweet spot is like if you're going to keep it stored is in between, you know, 30 to 80%, 30 to 90%. If you're going to be using it a lot, you don't really have to worry about that, but it's just good common sense with keeping your batteries. Like you wouldn't keep your phone on a charger and then like unplug it and then store it for several months. Of course you want to use your phone, but anyways, bad analogy. So just a little bit of you know, battery health tips if you're not familiar with them. It's sort of like the same if you have an EV. That's a better analogy. But otherwise, yeah, if you have any questions, please drop them down below. Like I said, the price is listed as $1,500, but you can find it like I found it. So the whole time I was doing this review, it was listed as $1,000. Of course, we're in the middle of summer. But of course, we also don't know what's happening with tariffs and things like that. So just keep an eye out on the price. I really like it. If you have any questions for me or Ainohot, please drop them down in the comments and we'll see if we can get those over to them or if I can answer them on my own. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to our Patreon members, as always, for supporting us on this channel with buying equipment and getting out there to do events and all that other good stuff. Thank you to our YouTube subscribers, as well as the YouTube members that support us on a monthly basis with a small contribution. And as Liv would say, just remember, whatever you drive or ride, enjoy the ride. Wait, that didn't come out right. As Liv would say, just remember, whatever you drive, even if it's an e-bike instead of an EV, enjoy the ride.